If you've been following the Gradvine channel for a while, it's quite clear that we've said the US is a great destination for a lot of master's degrees and for you to study abroad in general. However, you would have heard a lot of mixed reviews on this, and we are going to address some of that. The reason why we are doing this video is because the US or an education in the US is not a great idea for everyone. It really depends on you. There are often cases where students make some very misinformed choices while picking degrees and also have very unrealistic expectations while they're coming there. Also, there are certain degrees and certain decisions that you make that can put you in a lot of trouble. Therefore, watch this video so that you can avoid this. Here are some of the reasons why you should not come to do a degree in the US. Reason number one is your risk appetite. You'll have to understand that a degree in the US is an expensive affair. I get a lot of students saying that they want to do the degree within 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs. And considering inflation and the way the exchange rate is going, you are not going to get any half decent university at this price. As a result, students stick to that budget and end up applying to absolutely nonsensical universities. And then they suffer when the job search comes along because the US job market is competitive. If you go to a top tier university and invest that little bit more, the resultant reward is going to be much higher. If you go to a poorly reputed university simply because you want to save that 15 or 20 lakh difference, you will suffer at the end of the day because even that smaller amount is going to end up as debt. This is where the risk appetite part comes in, because for the better universities, you invariably will be spending a little bit more, and therefore you're going to be taking out a fairly large-ish sort of education loan. Now, because the starting salaries from the good universities are high, the payback period is 1.5 or 2 years, which is absolutely fantastic. But it can be daunting to take out such a large loan in the first place. Hence, you need to have that risk appetite. Now, my second point is also related to that risk appetite. You have to understand that the US is not the best destination if you want to immigrate and settle down long term without fail. There's always an element of risk to it. This is because of the H-1B visa system. Now, if you do a STEM designated degree, you have 3 shots at the H-1B visa lottery. Your lot needs to be picked once out of these 3 times so that you can stay for a longer period and work. Unlike Europe, this is a lottery system, so there is maybe a 15 to 20% chance that H-1B might not get picked. In Europe, you get a work permit, which means that if you're hired by a company, then the company can apply for a work permit by default without any lottery in place. So it's far more guaranteed. But that being said, if there are maybe 3,000 companies that sponsor H-1Bs in the US, that might be about 300 in a lot of European countries. So the opportunity pool is also lower. However, the likelihood of settling down comes with an element of risk in the US, and you have to be prepared to take that risk. If you go ahead and do that, once again, like I said, the reward is high. In case your H-1B gets picked, you'll have to understand that your H-1B is not dependent on the company that you're working for, but you holding down a job. So you are in a position where you can negotiate salaries, shift companies, and have a very strong career trajectory growth. There is a reason why a lot of top senior leadership at tech companies and even CEOs are Indians, because they went through this route where they did a master's degree and were on a visa. But because they took that risk, they were able to have that strong vertical growth and reach great heights. The US will always give you that opportunity, but you have to be willing to take that risk. If you don't have that in you, don't come here. Point number 3 deals with doing non-STEM degrees. This is something which is very appalling that students still choose to do despite the plethora of information that is available now. If you do a non-STEM degree, you are setting yourself up for a financial nightmare, because you only get a 1-year OPT extension to stay back and work on your student visa and not a 3-year OPT. Now, I told you there's a risk of the H-1B not getting picked out of the 3 turns. If you're doing it just once, now imagine your odds, they've fallen significantly. Therefore, a lot of students go do a non-STEM degree, maybe a fine arts degree or a journalism degree that's not STEM designated, or a literature degree, and then complain about the lack of job opportunities. You have to understand that the choice of degree is very, very important. Continuing on that theme, there are only a select number of degrees that you can pick which have guaranteed job opportunities in the US. These are largely related to tech companies. You want to do computer science, data science, artificial intelligence, management and information systems, business analytics, engineering management. These are degrees that take you into the tech sector, which is the biggest sponsor of H-1Bs in the US. Now, among other degrees, mechanical engineering has decent scope, but again, you can't go to any university. You have to go to a really top one to have the opportunities. Civil engineering and the construction sector is not very promising. Therefore, you might want to think about pivoting if you want a great career in the US. Picking the right degree is important. If you pick anything random, your opportunities are not going to be the same as everybody else. So these are very clear reasons and assumptions that you should consider before making the decision whether you want to come to the US or not. But then why do so many people still pick the US as a destination? It's simply because the rewards are too hard to ignore. Now, the way the economy is set up in the US, it's simply easier for you to buy your first car or make a down payment on your first house. Housing loans are cheap, salaries are higher. The chance for you to accumulate wealth and maybe invest back in India is far, far greater. Now, once again, in this video, I'm not endorsing the fact that you should do your master's degree. But if the idea is for you to amass wealth and go to a certain lifestyle in an accelerated period of time, it certainly is easier in US or maybe even a European destination to a lesser degree. Hence, you have to be able to make that risky decision if you want the rewards that follow. So I've tried to paint a balanced picture. Of course, if you feel that I'm biased in any way, please spread the hate in the comments. Any sort of engagement is good. But if some of you found this information useful, please do make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, you can always schedule a free consultation call on the link that is provided in the description, and my team would be happy to give you some unbiased advice on your career plans.